Short wheelbase versus long wheelbase is the topic for today, and we've got two unique trucks that don't fit underneath that 12.3 inch wheelbase for a 10 scale crawler. And we've got on the short wheelbase the 11.8 inch Element RC Bushido Plus. And for the long wheelbase, we've got the Zuul that comes in at 12.8 inches. Now, both of these trucks are pretty dang similar. They're both from Element RC, and they both have a lot of different things in common, but there are some big differences between these two trucks. So it's not gonna be a straight comparison between a short and a long wheelbase truck, but it should be pretty interesting to see the results. Short wheelbase trucks are usually gonna be a bit more nimble on the rocks, where a longer wheelbase truck is going to be a bit more stable when it comes time to ascend and descend up and over obstacles. Now, since these are both from Element, they have a lot in common. They're both going to use the same Stealth X transmission, and both of the transmissions in these trucks come equipped with a 6% overdrive. Both trucks are going to have the same 1523 MG steering servo. They're going to have the same 2-in-1 FlySky ESC and receiver unit, and the rest of the electronics are going to be the same between them too. They both also have a hidden steering system, so the front ends of the truck are gonna look a little bit more scale, so you're not gonna see some of that servo linkage hanging down, and it's just a bit more hidden and out of sight. They're also gonna have universal front drive shafts, so they've got a lot of steering angle. They use the same center drive shafts that are plastic and telescoping with the aluminum spline, and then they're both gonna have the same aluminum threaded body shocks. Now, one thing that's interesting is they're both 10 scale trucks, but when you look at them proportionately, the Bushido Plus looks like a bigger truck overall, and it's using slightly taller tires even though it's a shorter wheelbase, and then the Zuul just looks a little bit shrunken down. Not really important for this video, but it's just interesting to see that with them side by side. And there's also a driver figure and a scale interior in the Bushido, and if that driver was inside the Zuul, I don't think he would look right at all. Now, the Bushido Plus is also going to come with other scale details. It has the cool front and rear bumpers. It has the rear tire holder with a cover, and then it also has LEDs equipped in it out of the box. The Bushido Plus is also going to use a more traditional suspension link setup. So in the rear end, it's got a 4-link suspension, and then in the front, it's got a 3-link with the panhard, and then it's got the BTA steering. So it's got the behind the axle front steering link, so you're not going to see it on the front end moving around. It's a pretty slick system that just looks really scale when you're out on the rocks. The General Grabber X3 scale and officially licensed tires are used on the Bushido as well, and they are a taller size than the Zuul tires. They're officially licensed, they look really great, and proportionally on the Bushido, they look pretty dang nice. Now, the Zuul is a really unique truck because this is going to use the rear gatekeeper trailing arm setup, where it is similar to a 4-link but with trailing arms, and then they adjust the position of those rear shocks to be a little bit more inboard. That trailing arm setup also allows the Zuul to have the rear sway bar, which is going to limit some of the flex in the rear end and should help when crawling. On the front end of the Zuul, it's also really unique because it's using the brand new IFS 2, which is the independent front suspension system that is a pretty unique setup, and it allows each of the left and right side arms to work independently. There's a double wishbone setup with our steering links kind of in the front. This shock goes through the upper arm connecting to the lower arm, and overall it is just really nice, and it's improved over the original IFS. So we've got more ground clearance, there's more travel in the suspension, and the front skid plate doesn't kind of stick out quite as much as the original did. The original IFS system had a little bit of a problem with that snagging rocks. Another cool thing about the Zuul, which is unique to some of the Element trucks, is the scratch and weather body, where you can scratch up and scuff the outside paint to expose the rust colored paint used on the inside. So you can intentionally do that to the body if you want to, or just let it happen naturally as it bumps and scrapes on the rocks. So let's throw these trucks on the scale, and then we might scuff this body up a little bit, and then we'll go drive them. Bushido first with no battery. And the Zuul. We're gonna test the steering radius really quick, and on the Zuul, the dual rate was down quite a bit, so we bumped that up to maximize our steering throw. But let's see how tight it turns. So the Bushido definitely turns just a little bit tighter as expected with that shorter wheelbase, but it's not by a whole lot, but it is there. So close. Traction on these rocks.
So as we thought, the longer wheelbase Zuul definitely has a bit more stability and up and over to get up some obstacles. The Bushido did it though pretty well. The rear tire holder acts like a wheelie bar a bit when it wants to tip over, stopping it from doing that. When it comes time for just nimbleness on the rocks, the Bushido definitely has a whole lot more turning and a tighter turning radius, and it's just a bit more nimble to get around, where the Zuul takes a little bit longer and it's not quite as nimble and doesn't turn quite as sharp. But both trucks are just two different flavors to the same type of objective. They're both really fun on the rocks, and it would be fun to put some weighted wheels on here, add a little bit more weight down. I bet they would crawl up and over the rocks better, but overall both trucks are pretty dang good. One thing I noticed though about the Bushido is its bumper sticks out just a little bit more, so some of the tighter spots or tighter climbs, that bumper was a little bit of an issue hitting the rocks. But on the Zuul, the bumper was not an issue at all. The IFS system was not an issue. I don't think it ever got hung up. It was really smooth, it looks cool, and it worked pretty dang good. So both are really good trucks, and you should go check them out. So guys, go check out the Zuul and the Bushido with our links down below, or if you want more RC videos, check these out.